We're joined now by Democrat comedian and radio presenter John Fugelsang and Republican political commentator Ben Ferguson. It's not as though we haven't been here before, but I think some of the comments made, let's look particularly over Palestine. Let's start with you, John. I mean, it didn't even feel, did it, that this was a clearly thought-out decision. It just seemed to almost spill out that the White House was now dropping that policy.
Oh, you don't say. Are you implying that President Trump somehow has a problem with impulse control? You're exactly right. You have to remember Donald Trump may be the first president to ever serve on an outpatient basis. And to, on the one hand, say that he's going to throw out the two-state solution and then say, I just want Israel and Palestine to come up with something that they both like, and I'll sign off on that. I can live with that. It's sort of like saying, why can't you Jedi and Sith or Tom and Jerry just patch up your problems and leave me out of it? Then to turn around and put Netanyahu on the spot by saying, I want you to halt the settlements as well. Clearly, Bibi was not prepared for that. You're getting a very good sense that this president is organizing his foreign policy about as well as he organizes his personal life and appearance.
Oh, well, let's talk to Ben. I mean, look, I know you are a Republican political commentator, but even for you, it must be making you feel uncomfortable, isn't it? It must be.
Well, specifically with Israel, it didn't at all. And the reason why is the two-state solution, which has been on the table basically from 1992 forward with the Clinton administration, and then you roll in afterwards, every single administration has had the same policy. Look at where we are. We're the exact same place we were when in 1992 with Bill Clinton. It has not worked. And so what he was saying today was, I'm not abandoning it. What I'm saying is I'm willing to open it up and allow for the two parties to look at whatever solution they may come up with, and I'm willing to get behind them, because sticking with a two-state solution on these type of, basically these negotiations have been failing for 30 years almost. So I don't think it's crazy for him to say, you two need to take the lead. America's always tried to take the lead in these negotiations. It hasn't worked with a Republican or a Democrat, hardcore conservatives and hardcore liberals in the White House. Obama didn't do it with his charisma. Neither could Bill Clinton. Neither could George Bush. So I don't think this was, some off-the-cuff comment as much as it was, hey, I'm willing to look at this from other angles and see if there's another way to get to the ends here, which is to ultimately have two people side by side that are in a place where they're both safe.
But what about this whole issue with the Russian connection or not connection? We don't know exactly what it is at this point. But the fact that when he's got a press secretary who comes out and says, we may disagree with the facts. I mean, just pause for a minute. That means that we disagree with what is true. And if he is disagreeing or is blaming the media or is blaming the intelligence services for what is fact, that there have been connections between Flynn and others and the Kremlin, why can't he address that? What is the problem with him actually addressing the issue as opposed to deflecting it all the time?
Well, and I think I will say this. I think the White House has to do a better job on some of these issues that are, in fact, of being very clear that they accept those as being fact.
He was quite happy to encourage the Russians to hack Hillary Clinton's emails.
And I criticize that, and I think that's where you have to, again, when the White House is asked a question like that, they have to be more blunt about it. I think his point was, when that was happening, was look at what we're finding out about the corruption of Hillary Clinton and her server, and actually having an email that's not secure and putting national security at risk. And that was also the other part of the story, was at least we got something out of that hack. I don't think you should ever encourage hacking, and I called him out on it, and I'll do it again tonight. I have no problem with saying that.
So, John, look...
by complaining about the leaks about the activity, that's like blaming the security camera for the bank robbery they filmed. I mean, the fact of the matter is, Donald Trump didn't...
Do you think that this is being fed by the other camp, by Hillary's camp, or whatever that camp is now? Because that's what he's saying. They're whipping the media up constantly against him. And, Ben's point is interesting, isn't it? The old ways haven't worked as regards Israel and Palestine. Trump has said he was going to do it a new way. What's to say it will be any worse?
Well, in that case, I think Donald Trump was passing the buck because he's grotesquely uninformed on the historical situation between Israel and Palestine, and he's not really much of a details guy. In terms of General Flynn, don't forget, in his previous security job, he was called, they referred to Flynn facts because he played so loose with the truth. We know General Flynn lied to Vice President Pence. We know Donald Trump knew Vice President Pence had been lied to for 2 weeks, and this general continued to have top secret security clearance. So Donald Trump, in spite of what the press secretary said earlier in the day, Donald Trump clearly revealed something very important, and he did it accidentally. He didn't fire General Flynn because of what Flynn had done. He fired Flynn because Flynn got caught. And once the intelligence was leaked, I can guarantee you that did not come from Hillary Clinton's home in Chappaqua, New York. He's pivoting once again, and he's still running for president against Hillary Clinton rather than governing, which is the job he's been assigned.